In 2015, when I was in high school, an incident occurred one spring that left an indelible mark on my memory, making it unforgettable to this day. It was my last semester of senior year, on a Friday afternoon, and the atmosphere at school felt particularly gloomy. My friends and I had just finished a day of classes, and we were all relaxing on the playground, enjoying the freedom of the after-school hours. Suddenly, a sudden announcement came over the school intercom, instructing all students to immediately return to their classrooms and not to leave. When we returned to our classroom, we found the teachers looking very serious, and the principal hurried in, announcing that the school was in a state of emergency. The principal informed us that a student had gone missing. This student, named Emily, was a sophomore at our school. She had left her classroom during lunch break and had not been seen since. The school immediately organized a large-scale search effort, with teachers, security guards, and volunteer students all participating. My friends and I decided to join the search team, and we all split up, hoping to find Emily as soon as possible. We were assigned to search a small forest behind the school, a place rarely visited except by a few adventurous students. As night fell, the forest grew increasingly eerie, and the air was filled with a sense of unease. We carried flashlights and cautiously searched through the wood, making sure not to miss any spot. After about half an hour, we came across some strange marks in a patch of overgrown weeds, as if someone had been dragged through there. Following the trail, we continued onward and finally found Emily lying under a large tree. She was on the ground, her face pale, and she was clearly unconscious. We immediately called for help, and the school's security guards and teachers quickly arrived to take Emily to the hospital. After the doctor's examination, it was found that Emily was fortunately only frightened and had not suffered any serious physical harm. However, what she had experienced in the forest remained a mystery. When she woke up, she had almost no memory of her disappearance, only recalling that she had been led into the forest by a stranger during lunch break, and then everything went blank. This incident garnered significant attention from both the school and the police. Upon investigation, the police discovered some suspicious human activity traces in the forest, but no concrete evidence was found. The school then increased security measures to prevent similar incidents from happening again, even though several months have passed since the incident. The students and teachers at our school remained apprehensive. Every time I passed by that forest, I couldn't help but think of Emily's ordeal, feeling a chill run down my spine. During that period, all of us became more vigilant and were no longer willing to venture alone into secluded areas. During those innocent and naive high school days, an event occurred that remains unforgettable to me and almost changed the trajectory of my life. It was a season full of spring vitality, with every inch of the campus seemingly covered by new greenery and warm sunlight. The air was filled with a faint floral fragrance, intertwined with the cheerful laughter of my classmates, creating a picture brimming with youthful exuberance. However, behind this seemingly peaceful and harmonious environment, an undercurrent was quietly surging around me as an ordinary member of the class. My grades were mediocre, and my personality was somewhat introverted. I always tried to avoid conflicts and maintain friendly relations with my classmates. At that time, we were at an age full of infinite longing for the future, yet often bewildered, with each day filled with the unknown and challenges. The story took place during an outdoor expansion activity organized by the school. That day, the sky was clear, and the sun was shining brightly. All the students in our grade were taken to a vast forest in the suburbs 14, building training. The activity aimed to enhance class cohesion and promote mutual understanding and trust among classmates. My group consisted of several classmates with whom I didn't usually interact much, including a few who were quite active in the class and even had a tendency to form cliques. Shortly after the activity began, we took part in a high-altitude challenge project that required teamwork. Each person had to climb up a 10-meter high pole and then jump to grab a horizontal bar suspended in front. This project was undoubtedly a huge challenge for me because I had been somewhat afraid of heights since childhood. But to avoid dragging the team down, I mustered the courage and shakily climbed up the pole. As I stood at the top of the pole, filled with fear and hesitating whether to take that decisive step, I suddenly noticed that the safety rope attached to me seemed a bit loose. At that moment, my heart sank, and a wave of terror swept over me. I tried to adjust it myself, only to find that the safety rope's lock wasn't fully secure. This was no accident, as each student's safety gear had been checked and confirmed by professional instructors before departure. I immediately realized that this might be the handiwork of some classmates, either as a prank or for some unknown reason. At that height, such negligence could have severe consequences. I forced myself to calm down and carefully retreated to the ground, feeling a mix of emotions. Once on the ground, I pretended nothing had happened and quietly found a trustworthy teacher to privately explain the situation. The teacher immediately took action, rechecked everyone's safety equipment, and launched an investigation into the incident. I stepped out of the classroom into the quiet corridors of my high school on an ordinary Friday afternoon. The sunlight filtered through gaps in the clouds, lazily casting its warm glow. Despite the relaxed pre-holiday atmosphere, my mood was unusually heavy. Disappointed with my math exam results, I decided to leave the classroom early to gather my thoughts. Naturally, I found myself heading towards the most secluded restroom on campus, where few ventured. Pushing open the door, the dim light inside created an eerie silence. I chose a stall, closed the door, and attempted to calm my mind amidst occasional gusts of wind that whispered through the cracks. However, a series of unusual sounds shattered the tranquility. A faint scraping of shoes against the floor, indicating someone else had entered. Initially dismissing it as a passing student, a nameless unease began creeping over me. The sound persisted, drawing nearer until it stopped in the stall next to mine. A stifled breath seeped through the thin partition, as if someone was holding their breath, waiting. My heart raced, and while reason suggested it might be a prank or a classmate feeling unwell, a sudden surge of icy air seeped under the door crack, accompanied by a musty odor not native to the place. It dawned on me that this situation was far from straightforward. Then a low, raspy voice broke the silence. "You come out." Frozen in place, every pore in my body seemed to stand on end. Countless scenarios raced through my mind, each one chilling in its own right. Struggling to stay composed, I hesitated, debating whether to respond, hoping against hope that this was merely a tasteless joke. Yet, the voice repeated, commanding and undeniable, leaving me clenching my fists involuntarily. Just as I debated my next move, the stall door crashed open with a forceful shove, and a figure lunged toward me. Instinctively, I dodged backward, narrowly avoiding the attack, but stumbled and fell to the ground. In that moment, I saw him, a face contorted with a vacant stare, clad in a worn-out school uniform not from our school, holding a gleaming knife. Fear paralyzed me momentarily, but survival instinct kicked in, and I scrambled to my feet, racing toward the exit. The assailant pursued, the knife swishing through the air with a piercing whistle. I screamed for help, hoping someone would hear amidst the chaotic scramble. Fortunately, footsteps echoed urgently down the corridor, drawing the attention of several classmates who arrived just in time, causing the intruder to vanish into thin air. Later investigations revealed the intruder to be a former student, suffering from severe mental illness, who had somehow infiltrated the campus. The encounter that day subjected me to a level of fear I had never experienced before.